Hello! What's up, everybody? Welcome back to part 23. Yes, it's part 23 of my 2025. 23, 25. No, we're not doing that. Whatever these fucking kids are talking about. 6, 7. Go to heaven. 6, 7. I don't even know. I'm too old for this shit. You know this. Anyway, when I hear 6, 7, I'm thinking Freddy Krueger. 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. 3, 4, lock the door. 5, 6, get your crucifix. 6, 7, whatever. Anyway, this is part 23. My bad. 23 of my 2025 DVD and Blu-ray collection overview. And again, we are getting into the top of the shelves here. So let's just roll right in. Let's get some stacks. Stacks on stacks on stacks, as the kids say. Or something like that. I don't know. I'm very old. You know this. Anyway. First up, we have Disorderlies with the Fat Boys. This was around the time that rap and hip-hop really exploded, and Run DMC was in a movie, and Disorderly and the Fat Boys were in a movie and stuff like that. But apparently, allegedly, supposedly, my dad told me that when I was a kid, apparently I would watch this all the time. Me and my brother would watch this all the time. I don't know if that's true or not, but I do have it on DVD. Again, it's a Warner Brothers title. If it ever comes out on Blu-ray, who knows? But this one should come out on Blu-ray, and it would be a great double feature. But we got Who's the Man? I absolutely love this movie. This is the first hip-hop whodunit, but it has an amazing cast in here. Way too many people to list. But why this has never come out on Blu-ray is beyond me. But you got the good Dr. Dre, the other Dr. Dre, and Ed Lover. They were the hosts of Yo MTV Raps back in the day. Yeah, and Dennis Leary's in it, Queen Latifah, Ice-T, Criss Cross is in it. Again, Run DMC is in it. I could go on and on and on and on. But this movie is an absolute classic. And I don't think it did that well when it came out. But I remember seeing the trailer for it on the VHS of Loaded Weapon 1 back in the day. And I didn't see it till many years later. But does it have the insert? It does have the insert. Disorderlies does not, because after a while, Warner Brothers stopped making inserts for their DVDs. But oh well. But I love this film, and hopefully this will get a Blu-ray at some point. I look at if House, and I don't know why the fuck it took this long. I know it got delayed, but why the fuck did it take over 30 years, 35 years almost, for House Party to get a Blu-ray? I mean, it's cool that Criterion's putting it out, don't get me wrong, but I just don't understand why it took this long for House Party to get a Blu-ray. But I look forward to that one when it comes out. Sorry, need a little swig of the agua there. Anyway, moving on. We have I Love Doing Wall Street. I do like Wall Street. I think it's a good movie. To me, the biggest reason is Michael Douglas. I mean, I see why he won the Oscar. The rest of it's, not bad. Excuse me. I never saw the sequel. I don't really care to see the sequel, but I don't mind the first movie because you got Michael Douglas in there. Love Michael Douglas. Was always a big fan of his work. Can't complain. Next up, we have the remake of The Bad News Bears, which I actually really enjoy. This does have a Blu-ray. I just haven't picked it up yet. But I remember when this came out, it was a huge flop. It did not do well at all at the box office, but I actually really like it. This is one that me and my brother would watch a lot. And this is the old Blockbuster rental case, so there you go, because we used to rent it from Blockbuster a lot. But yeah, this was Richard Linklater. This is probably the movie that he did that nobody ever talks about. But, oh well, it is what it is, I suppose. But good flick. I always like that one. I don't have any of the original Bad News Bears movies. I have to get those at some point, because I know those are all on Blu-ray. And the rest of the stack here, yeah. The rest is all martial arts related stuff. So we'll be jumping into that here, right meow, as the cats say. Everybody see what I did there? Anyway, excuse me. So first up, sorry, I just woke up. We have The Art of Action, Martial Arts in the Movies, which Sony put this out. Stars made this documentary, and they used to run it a lot on their channels back in the day. And I used to watch it on there. But pretty good documentary. Sammo Hung gets interviewed. John Woo gets interviewed. Steven Seagal actually gets interviewed on here, which is interesting. And they just show a bunch of clips and they go through kind of the history of martial arts films. It mostly focuses on the Asian stuff, mostly the Chinese and Japanese films, but there is some American stuff that gets touched on in here too. So, but it's not bad. I actually quite like this one. When did this come out? Actually, I'm just curious. 2002. Okay, so it's been a hot minute. And then we have, I think this one came out around the same time. Yes, it did. But this is called Modern Warriors. I remember renting this one when Blockbuster actually had their online services back in the day. Remember that? Remember getting the discs in the mail and then you could go to the store and get free movies? I used to do that all the time. But this one's pretty cool too. Benny the Jet Urquidez is in here. Bill Superfoot Wallace. I think Jet Li. Yeah, Jet Li is in this one. Sammo Hung is in this one. Richard Norton, Cynthia Rothrock. Yeah, there's a bunch of other people in here. And then there's a lot of bonus footage, like extended training sequences and stuff. So this is pretty cool as well. So good little documentary. I love my martial arts documentaries, such as this one. This is called The Bladed Hand, which this is about Filipino martial arts. And the only thing I don't like about this is you cannot turn the English subtitles off. Like, of course, there's people in this documentary that don't speak English, and that's fine if you want to put the subtitle. But for the people that do speak English, I can hear them and understand them perfectly fine. I don't need subtitles on for that. But this is a documentary that I heard about for a couple years, heard it was pretty good, and tracked it down, and really like it. So good stuff in there. Now we're going to get into the Bruce Lee DVDs that I still have, which is actually quite a few. So first up, we have the Master Collection, which this is when Fox owned the Bruce Lee movies, so way back in the day now. And this is the original release. They did re-release this, where they put the movies in separate DVD cases. I actually had that for a while, but I was like, I don't need two of the same thing, so I got rid of it at one point. But this one I kept because I really like the presentation of these, and these were the ones that I remember the most as a kid, seeing the red pictures and stuff like that back in the day. And I did have Fists of Fury on VHS back in the day. And I think Return of the Dragon I had at one point from this lineup, but I never had Chinese Connection or Game of Death. But I think maybe one day I will pick up the VHS counterpart just to have it. So, but what's interesting is this picture is from Enter the Dragon, not from any of the movies that are included in here. So that's the Return of the Dragon, that's Chinese Connection. Then you open it up and you get all these pictures from the movies, which is really cool. And it also has Bruce Lee, the Legend documentary. If it wants to behave, and then you get... these are the two pictures that they use for the VHS releases for Chinese Connection and then Game of Death. There you go. And then it just opens up. Oh, I can actually get all of it in the frame. Pretty cool. It opens up like that. But the only thing about these set is Fist of Fury, aka the Big Boss, is slightly edited. It does not have the shot at the end where Bruce Lee stabs his fingers in the guy's ribcage. for whatever reason, in 1971 when the film came out, they said, it was too much. Chinese Connection is uncut. Return of the Dragon, they cut out some of the comedy scenes. The scene where Bruce Lee goes into the restaurant and he orders like one of each, that they cut that out for some reason. And then the scene where he goes with the hooker, I don't know why. I guess they felt that the comedy didn't translate. And then Game of Death is uncut because it was technically an American film. So there you go. But still really cool to have these. I love this set. And for the longest time, this was the only really way to get these movies here in America. Until later on. And I should have flipped these because technically this was first. But I have a bootleg Blu-ray and I also have a bootleg DVD of the Green Hornet. This is from Banzai, which they were one of the bootleg Asian film labels back in the day. I actually had more of their releases, but a lot of those movies have come out officially here in the States, so I didn't need that. But still, Green Hornet is, for whatever reason, I guess they just can't figure out how much money everybody's going to get, which is typically what happens. Because, as I said earlier, I think Disney owns the show, because it was Fox, and it got bought out. And I think the Trendle family, because George Trendle was the guy that created the Green Hornet, I believe the Trendle family owns the rights to the character. So, it's kind of like with Batman, when they did the Batman series, Fox owned the show, Warner Brothers, I guess bought it from them or whatever, and then Warner Brothers owned the character because DC got bought out by Warner Brothers. So, there you go. But the shitty thing about this is there's actually one episode, in true bootleg fashion, there is one episode that is missing on this. So it's not the complete 26 episodes. But oh well. But the first two discs here, these are the two compilation movies that came out in the 70s after Bruce Lee died. They edited a bunch of the episodes together, actually very poorly. And they took fight scenes from random episodes and they tried to turn them into movies to play in the theaters to play off of Bruce Lee. So this is the first one, which I forget what episodes are in here in this movie. And I actually do have this one on VHS because it did get a VHS release officially here in America. So when we get to the VHS, probably in January, next week or whatever, we'll get to that. And then this is the second movie, Fury of the Dragon, which the episodes is Trouble for Prince Charming, Secret of the Sally Bell, This Ray is for Killing, and Bad Bet on a 459 Silent. And then they incorporated, like I said, random fight scenes from other episodes to kind of pad it out. And then the other four is the series proper. So, Volume 3, The Dragon versus the Bat. This has the pilot episode, The Silent Gun, and then it has the two-part Batman crossover. And I got these, actually, these four, I got when I went to New York City for Comic-Con many, many years ago. I think it was Wizard World, if I'm not mistaken. Which they don't do that. They don't do that show at that area, and it was at the Javits Center in Manhattan. I don't think they do it there anymore. And then the movies I got later. And then we have Volume 4, Hell Hath No Fury, which this has the first 7 episodes of the series. Then we've got Volume 5, The Sting of the Hornet, which this has the next 5. And then we have Fear the Vengeance of Kato, Volume 6, which has the next, it says 6, but it's actually more, because, again, it was a 26 episode series. Actually, yeah, Volume 3, I think has, no. It says 7. I think it's more than 7. I think it's more than 5, and then it's more than 6. So there you go. And then I think some of them are out of order, but oh well. But and then there's one that's actually not on there. And then the transfers for these are actually pretty good because they were recorded from Stars when Stars reran the Green Hornet. I want to say 2002, 2003, somewhere in there, because I used to watch it on there. And I have some episodes I've recorded myself actually still on VHS. The Blu-ray set, I don't know where they got those, but the quality is actually better on these DVDs than that bootleg Blu-ray set that I have. But again, unfortunately, one of the episodes is missing. And like I said, I should have did the Green Hornet first, as that was first, but my bad. And then next up, I still actually have Enter the Dragon on DVD, because I think some of the features still are stuck on these DVDs, if I'm not mistaken. And there's a little thing about this which we'll talk about. So we have the original special edition DVD, 25th anniversary, the old snapper case. I got this I found it at a Family Dollar of all places for like $5. But I love that. I know it's Photoshop and everything, but I always really like that. And it's funny because that dragon logo here was the ones from the Fox set, so I guess they were able to license it over or what have you, or the artist sold it to both of them. But yeah, I think some of the minor extras on here did not end up on the Blu-ray release, if I'm not mistaken. And then we have the 2-disc special edition. When Warner Brothers actually did these, when Warner Brothers actually cared about their back catalog. I still have some of these left over. We'll get to a couple of them soon here, at least one of them. I think, where's the other one? I don't see maybe the other. No, actually, we'll get into a couple of them a little bit later on. But really nice presentation on this. Now, for the longest time, I thought, and I talked about this before, that this was the last time a Warrior's Journey came out on the Enter the Dragon edition. That is not true. I found out, I did not know this until the other night because I was looking some stuff up. A Warrior's Journey is actually on the first Blu-ray release of Enter the Dragon here in America. I guess after that, Warner Brothers lost the license to it, or the owners rescinded their deal or what have you, and then they sold it to another company. But yeah, the original Blu-ray release, which uses the same artwork as this, actually does have a Warrior's Journey on there as an extra feature, so I do want to get that. I don't think... Actually, I fucked up, because I think I had that release at one point, and I got rid of it. My bad. Oh well, it is what it is. I don't think the world's going to end. But this has all new extra features, and then I think it has most of the extras from this. But I do believe, like I said, I do believe there is some extras that are on these that ended up not getting over to the Blu-ray releases. But really nice presentation, nice little slip cover, slip box, whatever you want to call it. You got all your chapter selections, which is really cool. And again, this is when Warner Brothers actually gave a shit about their back catalog. And these 2-disc DVD sets are really nice. That's why I kept them. So yeah, this one has a commentary with Paul Heller, Blood and Steel, The Making of Enter the Dragon, which was new for this set. I think the commentary was new as well. No, it was not. It was on the previous. Actually, it might be a different commentary, to be honest. Yeah, it might be a different commentary. I think the commentary on the old one had the writer as well. I don't think that one's on here. Excuse me. Bruce Lee in His Own Words, which was on the old one. Original Featurette, which was on the old one. Linda Lee Cadwell Interview Gallery, which was on the old one. I think her introduction, because she did an introduction for the old DVD, I don't think it's on this one. Vintage home video workout footage with Bruce in his backyard. Yeah, that's from that DVD. This has A Warrior's Journey and Curse of the Dragon, which are excellent documentaries. I actually just watched both of those. and then trailers and TV spots. So I think, yeah, some of that stuff is not on the Blu-rays. I have to sit down and look over it, but I kept these because number one, it's Enter the Dragon, and number two, you know, they are very nice presentations, so I can't complain. Then we have another bonsai bootleg here. We have Bruce Lee in G.O.D., which is a Japanese half documentary, half movie about Bruce making the game of death, and then at the end it has the footage of that Bruce shot for Game of Death, which is completed. But it's edited differently than the footage on A Warrior's Journey, and I think the missing dialogue is in here, if I'm not mistaken, and all that stuff. So, and people have to remember that back in the day, you know, this was the first time that we got to see this footage in its entirety. People think, oh, well, you know, they've always had it. No, they didn't always have it. Even so, after this and A Warrior's Journey came out, there were still 2 reels that were missing, and then they eventually found them, and that's why we have the complete footage on the Arrow set, because they were able to get it. So people don't realize what a struggle it is, or it was for a long time, to be a Bruce Lee fan and to want to see the complete footage of Game of Death, because it just didn't happen for many, many, many years. And I would tell people before the Arrow set came out, I said, no, there is more footage out there. I've seen pictures, I've seen clips, you know, that have leaked out in some way, shape, or form. And, you know, there is more out there that we haven't seen yet. And of course I was right, but nobody wanted to believe me. But, you know, I think this came out right before A Warrior's Journey, but they're both, you know, they're both 2 different looks at it. So, you know, they're cool to have, at least in my opinion. Then we have a History Channel documentary, How Bruce Lee Changed the World, which this is pretty cool because Stan Lee is in this. LL Cool J gets interviewed. John Woo gets interviewed. So, you know, there's a bunch of cool people that get interviewed in here. I think Kobe Bryant's in the next one, my bad. But this is a pretty cool documentary. And then we have I Am Bruce Lee, which this is on Blu-ray. I need to upgrade to the Blu-ray, but this is still pretty cool. Spike TV aired this, and I watched it when it premiered, and I still really like it. But Dan Inosanto's in it, Kobe Bryant's in it, Mickey Rourke is in it, Dana White, Ed O'Neill, Ray Boom Boom Mancini. So it's a lot of MMA people and stuff, which is pretty cool. And then Shannon and Linda are here. But, I mean, it's Bruce Lee. And there's some extras on here, which is pretty cool. But good little documentary. I did like this one. I'm a sucker for a Bruce Lee documentary. Then we have The Real Bruce Lee. This is an old, cheap public domain DVD because it's just what we're dealing with a lot of these, you know, Bruceploitation movies. But this is half documentary, half Bruceploitation movie. The early part of it is a little biography about Bruce Lee, and then it has footage from the movies that he made when he was a kid in Hong Kong, which there's still a lot of people that don't realize that Bruce Lee made movies as a child before he made his action films. And they don't use footage from the martial arts movies, but there's pictures and stuff that they show, and then the second half of it is a Bruceploitation film, so it's kind of interesting how they did that. I actually had this on VHS back in the day because I didn't know what it was. I remember finding it at a dollar store, because back then you used to find the Bruceploitation movies on these public domain DVDs and VHS tapes at like Dollar Trees and, you know, different dollar stores, because that's what the market was for. So I used to see those all the time, but I didn't buy a lot of them because I knew that they were, you know, not really Bruce Lee. But The Real Bruce Lee, like I said, it's half documentary, half Bruceploitation movies. So there you go. And then we have The Path of the Dragon, which is another little documentary. I think I don't remember who gets interviewed in here. His Shannon narrates it, but Yeah, this is another one of those sterling cheapo DVDs, but this is the only way that these have come out, at least in America. And then we have the Intercepting Fist documentary, which I think is kind of the same thing. But again, a little cheap sterling DVD, but they're cool. Maybe one day they'll get some proper releases. Maybe on the next Bruceploitation set or something, there'll be extra features or what have you. So who knows? Then I do have the individual release of Bruce Lee: A Warrior's Journey. This is the Region 2 UK release, and the reason why I have this one is because this actually has the extra features. For whatever reason, I do not know why, but the extra features were listed on the American release, but they're not actually on the disc. I don't know if there was a fuck up or they were just lazy or what have you, but the extra features are not on the American version, so that's why I went and got the UK Region 2 version, because there's it has a commentary with the director John Little, and then they have like a little short film of what was going to be the Game of Death. Like they hired actors and they played out, what was going to happen before the fight scenes, and then the tag scene at the end where he comes down out of the pagoda. So there's that. And then there's a little music video tribute to Bruce Lee as well. But none of those ended up on the American release or the Enter the Dragon release. So that's why I grabbed this one. And I actually just watched this one the other night. So there you go. Well, very cool stuff. And then we're going to get into the son. We're going to get into Brandon now. So we've got Legacy of Rage. This is the old Fox, 20th Century Fox DVD when they had the license with Fortune Star for a while. Perry Fan 49 has a great video because he actually has the entire lineup. I think this might be the only one that I have left because I think all of them have come out on Blu-ray. So I've upgraded, but this one I still have because Legacy of Rage is on Blu-ray. I just don't have it yet. But this is the only movie that Brandon did in Hong Kong. But I like it. It's more of a heroic bloodshed. It's more of a John Woo type of film. Excuse me. There's a little bit of martial arts in it, but it's mostly Brandon, shooting people and blowing shit up, and you can't go wrong with that, at least in my opinion. But like I said, this is more of a John Woo type of movie, but it's cool. And it's ironic because Brandon did want to work with John Woo. It just never happened. And then we have Laser Mission, which this is an old public domain DVD. That's obviously from Rapid Fire. Same with the picture on the back. This was a Christmas gift many, many years ago from my brother. But here in America, this movie has only come out on public domain releases because the rights are up in the air. But it would be cool. It's not a good movie, but it was Brandon's first American movie and he was in the starring role. It would be nice if one of the labels got it. Even if it was like 88 Films or Eureka overseas or something, cleaned it up and put a little bit of extras and a little bit of love into it just to have it. You know what I mean? But Ernest Borgnine is in it with a German accent, so that at least it has that going for it. And then I have the Region 2 release of Rapid Fire because this was sent to me. Again, I forget the person that sent it to me. My apologies. But the shitty thing is this is slightly edited because it doesn't have the nunchuck scene because at the time the UK did not allow that to be shown on film because they were afraid that people were going to go around and nunchuck people, and they were afraid kids were going to kill each other with nunchucks. So, look, it's not just here in America where they're afraid of things that don't matter. It's in Europe as well. It's probably more so in Europe, to be honest. But again, for free, I'm not going to complain. And then I still have the old 2-disc collector's series of The Crow, because there's extra features on here which did not end up on the Blu-ray, but they are on the 4K. So I do need to get the 4K of The Crow, because this has a different commentary track. The Blu-ray has a commentary track with the director, Alex Proyas. This has a commentary with the producer, Jeff Most, and one of the writers, John Shirley. And then I think there's some of the minor extras that never ended up on the Blu-ray release. But as I said, the 4K has everything and then some. It's got new extras, so I definitely want to get that at some point. But I remember going to the mall here is no more. It actually just got condemned because they had a wall. One of the walls fell. So, yeah, the mall is no more. But when the mall was a thing, I used to go in there all the time when FYE was there, and I actually got this at FYE. And I'll never forget, I was with a guy that I'm no longer friends with for many different reasons, and this is one of the reasons. He was trying to get with this girl. This girl had no interest in him. This girl could give less about him. I don't know why he was chasing this skirt, but he was. And she was hanging out with a friend of hers, so he's like, why don't we go to the mall? Maybe we could, like, hang out with her. Maybe. I'm like, no, she don't like you, dude. She had no interest in you. I had no interest. I just wanted to get the fuck away from these people. But I went into, while he was over there trying to get in her pants, I went into FYE and grabbed this. And it's funny because I would go into FYE as a kid and I never got carded. I never got carded to buy R-rated movies. It was weird. And I told the story before in a previous segment, but I only ever got carded at Blockbuster once. It's weird. Anyway, now it doesn't matter because I have the beard. But when I was a little baby-faced punk-ass teenager, I never got carded. It's very strange how that never happened. Anyway, but I come out and they see me with the bag and like, what's in the bag? And I was like, The Crow. And the girl that he was trying to get with was like, what's The Crow? And I'm like, shut up, bitch. But yeah, she was a little hoe. I don't have a problem saying it. She's actually still a hoe. I saw recent pictures of her. She thinks she's a fucking supermodel. She thinks she's a fucking Instagram model. This was a girl that everybody thought was attractive except me, because she's not attractive. She's very basic looking. She's very bland looking. She's a 3 out of 10 on a good day. That was 20 years ago when I was in high school, and now, which is scary to believe that I was in high school. I think 2006 I started. My bad. It's Christmas is a couple of days away, so I'm already thinking of 2026. My bad. But yeah, she was not very good looking. She was a fucking twat to everybody, and then she got fucking plastic surgery for some reason. Now she looks even worse. So sometimes I'm right, I know. Anyway, we're going to move on to the black martial arts actors, some of them at least. So we have this Urban Action 4-pack, which has Black Belt Jones with Jim Kelly, Hot Potato with Jim Kelly, which is the sequel to Black Belt Jones, and then 3 the Hard Way with Jim Kelly, Fred Williamson, and Jim Brown, and then Black Samson, who was in Black. It was Rodney Tarkington. Or Rockney, I'm sorry. And funnily enough, Rockney Tarkington was originally going to be in Enter the Dragon as Williams, and then he dropped out, and then Jim Kelly came in, which it all worked out. But because Warner Brothers was so impressed with Jim Kelly, they actually gave him a 3-picture deal, which is why we ended up getting these movies. And this was the first time I think any of these ever came out on DVD. They were stuck on VHS for a long time. And this set came out in 2010, I believe. Yeah, because I got this, I think, like right after I graduated high school. I heard it was announced, and then I found it at Walmart, I think, right when it came out, which is really cool. But Black Belt Jones and 3 the Hard Way are on Blu-ray. I don't think Hot Potato is on Blu-ray. Black Samson was okay. I think I only ever watched that once, and I couldn't really get into it. But Black Belt Jones is awesome. I love that one. Hot Potato is not too bad, and I do like 3 the Hard Way because it's all 3 of them in there. I like Jim Brown, may he rest in peace, and Fred the Hammer Williamson as well. But maybe I'll go back and give Black Samson another look. We'll see. But yeah, definitely want to upgrade these two to Blu-ray sometime soon here, and then we're just waiting on Hot Potato. But again, because we do not know what's going on with Warner Brothers, who knows if it'll ever happen or not. And then we have Black Belt Jones 2, which this is not actually Black Belt Jones 2. Again, Hot Potato is. This is the Tattoo Connection, but some releases they call it Black Belt Jones 2. But this is a bootleg. I think this is also Banzai, but it says Blacks on the back, so I guess this was their, blaxploitation label for a little bit. Because I think they also put out the first Black Belt Jones and maybe Hot Potato from Jim Kelly. But Bolo Yeung is in this. I did have this on VHS many, many moons ago, but I got rid of it for some reason. So I'll have to pick it up again at some point. And then, to end this stack, we've got some Ron Van Cleef, the Black Dragon, as Bruce Lee named him. So first up, we have a double feature of The Way of the Black Dragon and The Death of Bruce Lee. So even Ron Van Cleef was getting on the Bruceploitation train, so to speak. But these are pretty good. I like both of them. Carter Wong is in Way of the Black Dragon, which Carter Wong is actually coming here to do a convention in March. So I definitely will be going to meet him because he does not get here too often to the States. And that's the thing. Whenever you have, like when I met Bolo Yeung and Angela Mao, when they show up at conventions, I go because they never do shows. So, and they're getting older, so, you want to meet these people while we still got them, so I can't complain. And then, Death of Bruce Lee is good, and there is a commentary on both of the movies with Ron Van Cleef, which is pretty cool. And I think Way of the Black Dragon, I think Death of Bruce Lee, there is a Blu-ray for, but I don't think it has the extra features. I have to look into that. So there you go. And then we have The Super Weapon, which he's in this documentary about martial arts. It's him and Charles Bonnet, Frank Ruiz, and Wilfredo Roldan and then Thomas LaPuppet, who actually Ron Van Cleef studied under. So they're all included in this documentary. Pretty good documentary from the 70s. And then another good documentary, we have the Black Kung Fu Experience, which aired on PBS. My brother was actually watching this. He was at a wrestling tournament, and then he texted me and was like, hey, there's a martial arts documentary on PBS with Ron Van Cleef. I said, you mean Van Cleef? He goes, yeah. I'm like, okay. So that's how I first saw this and then picked up the DVD. And then also Dennis Brown is in it. Dennis Brown's actually from DC. Tayari Cassell and Don Hamby are the martial artists that are covered. And it's funny because they say Kung Fu. They're not all Kung Fu guys. I don't know why I guess that was the selling point for them. I'm just checking the disc. Yeah, the disc is fine because the package did get a little warped. Because again, it's that cheap fucking plastic they used. So that is it for that stack. I'm going to take a little bit of a breather to clear up my face. And then we will jump into the next stack here. And we will actually start with a martial arts title. So don't you go changing. Alright, so we are back from my little excursion to blow my nose. So let's go ahead and roll right into the next stack here. Like I said, another martial arts title. We have the complete series of Raven, which was a martial arts action series from the early 90s, 92, 93 in there, that aired on CBS. This is one that I remember hearing about as a kid, and I was like, oh, that sounds like a cool show. That sounds like something I would like. And I think maybe FX, I want to say FX reran it very briefly, but I could be wrong on that. And then this DVD came out 2016, so about 10 years ago, but it is a burn on demand. And like this show, it was cool. Jonathan Raven is the name of the character. He's played by Jeffrey Meek. Jeffrey Meek would later play Raiden and Shao Kahn on the Mortal Kombat Conquest TV series, which is not a good TV series, at least in my book. But, he's looking for his son, and he was in the Yakuza, so they're coming after him, and, he's just helping people. It's that kind of show. It's like Kung Fu for the 90s, which is ironic because then I think the year that this show ended, Kung Fu, The Legend Continues, started, which I do like. I need to get that. At least the first 2 seasons came out, but cool stuff. Then they canceled this show in favor of Walker, Texas Ranger. So there you go. Oh well. Next up, we got Punks. This was another childhood favorite. It's not a Disney Channel movie, but they called it a Disney Channel original movie, but it was not made by Disney. But another childhood favorite. You got Fonzie himself, Henry Winkler, as the bad guy. Can you really go wrong? No, I don't think so, but good stuff here. Good movie. We're the Punks! United we stand. That's the theme song for the movie. I know you guys really wanted to hear that. Oh well. Next up, we got Flubber, which I don't know why this has never come out on Blue. Oh, I do know why, because it's fucking Disney. But I love Flubber. This is one that I used to watch all the time as a kid. And then I did get a paid request for this a couple years ago on the old channel, and I hadn't watched it since I was a kid. So it was great to go back and watch it after so many years. But I do really like this movie. I always did. It's definitely one of the more forgotten Robin Williams films as far as I'm concerned, but still a fun one. Go, move your little flubber booty, which that was only in the trailers. That's not that scene is not that scene is actually not in the movie. Again, it is only in the trailers, so there you go. Then we have Lone Hero, which I remember hearing about this movie when I was a kid. I think Cinemax, HBO used to run a little bit, but I never caught it on there. But I found this DVD at a record store pretty cheap, so I grabbed it. But Lou Diamond Phillips plays the villain, so you can't go wrong. And then Sean Patrick Flannery from Boondock Saints plays the hero. And I think he's a stunt guy in like a Wild West show. And that's kind of the backdrop of the finale. And Lou Diamond Phillips is a biker, and they try to take over the town, so he fights back. Robert Forster is also in this, so may he rest in peace. I always liked Robert Forster. So you can't go wrong with there. And then Mark Metcalf is in it, who played Niedermeyer in Animal House, and he was in the Twisted Sister music videos. I talked about him in a previous segment. Love that guy. And it's actually written and directed by Ken Sanzel, who wrote Replacement Killers with Chow Yun-fat. So there you go. Which I love that movie. And then we have Beverly Hills Ninja, which this did get a Blu-ray, I think, either earlier this year or late last year, if I'm not mistaken. So this recently finally got a Blu-ray release, so I'll have to pick that up at some point, because this was the only Chris Farley movie that I don't have on Blu-ray. But always like this one. I know Chris did not like it, but I do. This is one that was always on TV growing up, whether it was on cable or it was on, TBS Superstation back in the day or what have you. But this is one that I would always watch, and the main reason is because Robin Shaw is in it from Mortal Kombat, because Robin Shaw did not really get to do many American films, so it was always cool to see him. And then Soon Tek Oh plays the sensei, may he rest in peace. So yeah, there's a bunch of good stuff in here. Good fight scenes. A lot of the stunt guys are the guys actually from Mortal Kombat. The villain's like right hand man is actually Keith Cook, who played Reptile in the first Mortal Kombat. And then he played Sub-Zero in Annihilation. So there you go. Can't go wrong. But Beverly Hills Ninja is fun. Can't go wrong. And I definitely want to pick up the Blu-ray, relatively soon here. And I know I keep saying it, but it is true. One of my goals for 2026 is to upgrade as much of these DVDs to Blu-ray as I can. So there's that. And then we have Time Cop 2, The Berlin Decision, which I do like this because Jason Scott Lee is the lead, and he got to do another action film, and he got to play the hero, and then you have Thomas Ian Griffith as the bad guy, so you really can't go wrong there. But I do quite like this film. It's really short without credits. I think it's only like 77 minutes. I do wish it was a little bit longer, but of course it's direct-to-video. You know, they do what they got to do, but this one was cool. I did like this. Hold on. I knew it was coming. I felt it. But I actually did see this when it first came out, because I was excited, because Time Cop, you know, is my favorite Van Damme movie. Then they do a sequel, but you get Jason Scott Lee as the lead. Right on. And it's just a shame that, and I always talk about Jason Scott Lee, because he should have been a bigger star. He really should have. Dragon the Bruce Lee story was great. I just watched that the other day. That did very well when it came out. I think Jungle Book flopped, but I always really liked that movie. I have that on, good luck trying to get that on DVD. And that will never come out on Blu-ray, because Disney does not actually completely own the film. They split the rights with another company, and the other company doesn't want to play ball with Disney. I agree. So unfortunately, that'll never get a Blu-ray. But after that, he just kind of fell off. You know, I don't know what happened, but, you know, he should have been a much bigger star. I know he did those Dracula sequels, Dracula 2000 sequels, which are okay. I just don't like, because the ending, he becomes a vampire, and I was like, okay, why'd that happen? But it is what it is, I suppose. And he was, you know, of course, he was the bad guy in Soldier with Kurt Russell, which was great. You know, don't get me wrong, but I always really liked Jason Scott Lee, and I don't know why he just never became a bigger star, a bigger name, because he should have, you know, at least in my opinion. And I'm sure a lot of other people share that opinion. Next up, we have the Salem's Lot remake, from the first Salem's Lot remake. Let me correct myself, my apologies. But this is the mini-series remake from 2004. I actually really like this. I did watch it. I don't think I watched it on because this was a TNT original. I don't think I watched it when it was on originally, but it came out on DVD and VHS. Actually, I do have it on VHS as well. Very quickly, and I rented the DVD because I missed it on TV. But I like this for what it is. I like the original more. But, you know, it's Rob Lowe. I'm a sucker for Rob Lowe. I can't complain. And then you got Donald Sutherland and Rutger Hauer and James Cromwell and Samantha Mathis, a bunch of good actors in here. And apparently Rutger Hauer was very difficult to work with. Rob Lowe, in his book, said he just refused to learn his lines, and he had this improvised speech that he gave about horses or something, and it didn't make any sense, and they ended up not using that anyway. So they had to write cue cards for him, and, you know, I love Rutger Hauer. I think later on, when his health got bad, it affected his performances, like in Dracula 3D, but, you know, in his prime, he was great. But I always enjoyed this. I thought this was cool. Maybe this will get a Blu-ray. I don't know. We'll see. But for now, it's stuck on DVD and VHS. But I do like that. You know, and that was around the time. To me, Stephen King is the most overrated writer ever. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. It's true. And you know it's true. I never really got into his books. I prefer the movies to all his stuff. I actually have Salem's Lot, the book. I do like it as a book, but, you know, I read, when I was in high school, they had The Running Man. I read The Running Man. I thought the book was fucking terrible, where it ends with Ben Richards becoming a kamikaze and flying into a building to prove a point. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? I read the Silver Bullet is based on a short story called Cycle of the Werewolf. I read that and thought, okay, but the movie was better. I never read it because I don't understand, you know, what Stephen King's obsession is with pedophilia, because it's in a bunch of his books. Maybe he is a pedophile. I don't know. Maybe you can answer that, Stephen. So there's that. It's funny because all this Epstein talk and Stephen King has gone very quiet. Things that make you go, But I think he's an overrated hack. I always thought he was. He's a dick. At least in my opinion, especially in more recent years, all he does is complain about politics and everything. So there you go. And I don't give a fuck that he was coked up during Maximum Overdrive. That's the reason why that movie's good. So there you have it. Anyway, moving on. We have Proof of Life. I do like this movie. The problem with this movie is nobody gave a shit about it. All they gave a shit about was the fact that when they were making the film, Meg Ryan and Russell Crowe were having a thing. And Meg Ryan was still married to Dennis Quaid at the time. That's the only thing that people remember about this movie, and that's the only thing that people talk about to this day from this movie, is the fact that they were bumping uglies while they were making it. But I do enjoy this film. It's a good little movie. I don't think this will ever come out on Blu-ray because it was a huge flop. And like I said, the only thing that people really talk about it is the fact that they were having some happy fun time with each other. So there you go. Sorry, but that's on them. Next up, we have Zorro. There was, after Mask of Zorro came out, or actually before Mask of Zorro came out, there was a cartoon that aired on Kids WB, and most of this show is considered lost media because there was only a handful of VHS tapes that came out, and there was only one DVD that came out. So yes, this is considered lost media for the most part, because I think it only aired like one time. There were no reruns, and that was it. But I remember renting one of the VHS tapes as a kid. I don't think it was any that was included in here. But there is 6 episodes, so these are the only 6 that are really out there. There might be some other ones here on YouTube or other places you can find online, but unfortunately this is considered, lost media for the most part. But I did like this show. It's got some cool stuff in it, so there you go. And hopefully one day they'll put it out there, completely. We shall see. Next up, I've talked about this before, and I will talk about it again, but I do have the old Universal Collector's Edition of the Thing. I love these DVDs. I really do. I love the gold trimming that they have at the top and the bottom. And, a lot of these were just re-releases of the Signature Collection laser discs, but, it is what it is. But I love these old DVDs. I wish that, they did them for a while, then they stopped doing them. Then they were just, this is a special edition. This is this version. This is that version. But I had a lot of these back in the day before upgrading to Blu-ray. Like I had Street Fighter, Jurassic Park. The first 2 Jurassic Park movies were in that line. I had the first Jurassic Park, and then that one just stopped working at one point. It would just skip and it wouldn't play. And I don't know what the issue was, because I take care of all my shit. It wasn't scratched up or, jacked up or anything. It just stopped playing at one point. I don't know if it was just a bad batch of discs or what the case was. But, I think I have a couple of these still lying around in here somewhere, maybe. But the reason why I have this, the reason why I kept this, is because, I talked about this before, the commentary with Kurt Russell and John Carpenter is uncut. For whatever reasons, I do not know why, on all of the Blu-ray releases, that includes the Scream Factory release and the Arrow release, the commentary is re-edited. Again, why? I don't know. The commentary was recorded for the Laserdisc. They kept the Laserdisc references in here. I don't know why you would cut that out, but they cut out references to Laserdiscs. A lot of the jokes that they say get cut out, like they talk about TK Carter, and apparently there was a time when TK Carter was getting in trouble, and Kurt Russell's like, well, he's good now, and they start laughing, and just a lot of, I guess, it's politically incorrect, but they re-edited the commentary track for all of the Blu-ray releases. There's not one single Blu-ray release out there that has the full track, so that's why I still have this collector's edition DVD. And of course, I have it on Laserdisc as well. But like I said, I do love these old Universal Collector's Edition DVDs. Actually, I have Mallrats. I just got Mallrats back in there, back in the collection from this line. And it still has the booklet and everything. But yeah, I loved these old DVDs back in the day. Like I said, I remember having Street Fighter. I had Mallrats, and then I got rid of it, but I got Mallrats again, so it's all good. Psycho had one. The first two Jurassic Park. Actually, all three of the Jurassic Park movies had them. Meet the Parents had one. There was a bunch. I'm sure if you go online, you can find a full list of them. But good stuff. And next up, I should include this with the other ones that I have. Eventually, when I redo everything in this room, I'll probably make it a little more organized. But we have Saturday Night Live, The Best of John Belushi, which is great stuff on here. All the classic skits, Blues Brothers, Cheeseburger, 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 Star Trek, Joe Cocker, all that is on here. Again, I absolutely love this DVD. A lot of these DVDs I love. The only one I didn't really care for was the Chris Farley one, because that was just a special that they aired, so it doesn't have a lot of the skits complete in it. It's just segments of it, but for whatever reason they did that. But the rest of them that I have Dan Aykroyd, Adam Sandler, and Mike Myers. They're all really good. I like all those. And then I have some of the seasons, which we'll get to. Excuse me. And then we got some Jackass. Sorry. It is cold. It is December. We have the first Jackass movie, which unfortunately this is the full screen release. I knew it was coming. Sorry. But love the first Jackass movie. I think I also have this on VHS, if I'm not mistaken. And still not on Blu-ray. I don't know why the first two movies are not on Blu-ray. The third one is. I have Jackass 3 on Blu-ray. And some other stuff, which we'll get to. But, yeah, love the first two. Actually, the first three I really like. I never saw Jackass 4 because of the stuff with Bam and all that. I just didn't care. But the first three I really like. And then we have Jackass 2. This is the unrated version. I think this is unrated as well. No, this one I don't think had an unrated version. But Jackass 2 did. And then I have the director's cut, Jackass 2.5, but that's over there I just haven't watched it yet. But the first two I really, really enjoy because I remember when they came out and everybody talked about them. And then again, Jackass 3 is pretty fun. Excuse me. You can hear it. I'll be right back. Sorry. Alright, sorry once again about that. But if I could stop sneezing and snarling and everything, we could commence with the fun and the games here. So we'll go, I'm about an hour here, but we'll go a little bit longer. Try to tidy up a little bit, so to speak. But anyway, continuing... little story behind this one. Fright Night Part 2. This is the old artisan, out-of-print, expensive DVD. Again, I do not know what this goes for now because I've had it forever, but I'm sure, the prices have probably come down a little bit because, there's fancy bootleg Blu-rays, and now, Michael Felsher's putting this out in 2026, so, the prices probably aren't what they used to go for. I think I paid $50 to get this, but this one kind of fucked me over a little bit. So back in, about 10, 15 years ago, 13 years ago, something like that now, when I got this DVD, so how eBay, PayPal, whatever does it, you could either pay like with your debit card through it, or you could pay with PayPal. If you pay with PayPal, it takes like a day or two to process. And I bought it, it cleared, everything was fine, and then something happened with my bank, and then it went like in the negative, and I've told that story before and everything, but, excuse me, it all worked out. It's not that big of a deal, but, yeah, still have this DVD. When the 4K comes out, I definitely will probably get rid of this, because I won't need it anymore, and I do have, which we will cover later on when I do all like the Blu-ray or the DVDs that I made, like all the DVD-Rs and stuff like that. That'll be a separate set of videos. I do have a bootleg of Fright Night 2 that was recorded off of HDTV and stuff like that. So typically I watch that one, because this one, it's a VHS transfer. I think you could see tracking lines at some points, and the audio quality is terrible, and it's in full screen because they just wanted to get it out there. But it will be interesting to hear, the very convoluted history of this movie, because I think for years and years and years, people thought that the reason why this movie didn't get much of a release and everything is because the Mendez brothers killed their parents. Actually, no, that's not true, because it came out before they did that. I think on a live stream, I think we did that. We went through like the timeline, and we're like, well, Fright Night came out in May and they didn't kill their parents till a couple months later, so something ain't adding up here. So yeah, I don't know why this movie had such a complicated history, but it had, after the parents got killed, yes, then, I'm sure that affected it, but the movie came out in theaters prior to that, so we'll I'm sure find that information out relatively soon here. But Fright Night 2, solid sequel. I think, again, people talk more about the complications of it than the movie itself, but I've always really enjoyed it. I remember watching 1 and 2. The first time I saw both of them was on the Sci-Fi Channel back in the day. And just, still enjoying them. Have them on VHS, have them on Laserdisc. They're still... great movies as far as I'm concerned. The original is my favorite vampire film of all time. So there's that. Next up, we have Corky Romano. I really enjoyed this movie. It's just a dumb, fun comedy. You can't go wrong. I like Chris Kattan as an actor. As a person, I don't know, because I know Jim Brewer talked about he would always like steal his ideas for Saturday Night Live, and he would never give him credit, and he was a dick to him and stuff like that. But as a performer, as an actor, I always like Chris Kattan, but that's just me. And then you got Columbo himself, Peter Falk in the movie. You can't go wrong. Chris Penn, may he rest in peace. What's his name? Peter Berg. I couldn't think of his last name. Fred Ward is in this, so can't go wrong. And the lovely Vanessa Shaw. So good stuff. Sorry, can't help it. And then we have the Parent Trap, the remake, the special Double Trouble edition, which is where my infatuation with Lindsay Lohan started. That's weird. It's not weird, because we're about the same, or she's a little bit older than I am. And she was a kid when this came out, and I was a kid when this came out, and we're both adults, so it's not fucking weird. Knock it off with that shit, you fucking weirdos. Anyway, but I always really enjoyed this movie. I remember when it came out, it was a big deal, and Lindsay Lohan exploded after that, and, she had a good run there, and then, of course, her personal problems caught up with her, but luckily, she's all good. It's all good. She's sober, and she's a mom now, and she's doing very well for herself, so that's awesome. Once again, because it's fucking Disney, there is a Blu-ray for this. They came out through the Disney Movie Club, but it does not have any of the extra features that is on here. There's a commentary and making ofs, and none of that got to the Blu-ray, because fucking Disney. So there you go. And we'll do Family Business with Sean Connery, Dustin Hoffman, and when he's not killing people with vehicles, Matthew Broderick. I like this movie. It's not a great movie, but the performances alone, I think, are pretty good. Dustin Hoffman and Sean Connery in the same movie, and then you throw Matthew Broderick in the mix. You can't go wrong. But this is a good little movie. Does have the insert, which is cool. I mean, it's Sean Connery. I'll watch anything with Sean Connery. Maybe, hell, I had to sit through fucking Zardos, okay? The penis is good. The gun is the penis is evil. The gun is good. Okay? I know people complain about Highlander being Sean Connery's weirdest film. Have you seen Zardos? Next up, we have the Guyver Bio Boosted Armor. This is the original Guyver anime. They did another one many, many years later, which that is on Blu-ray, but that is out of print. But this is the original series of the Guyver. They did they call it the OVA, the original video animation. They did one before this, but this is the series proper, which has only ever come out on DVD. I forget where I might have got this at one of the local antique malls here for a couple bucks, but very cool. I do quite like the Guyver 2 Dark Hero movie, which is in here somewhere. We'll cover. But I did like this anime. I thought this was pretty good. Unfortunately, as of now, there is no Blu-ray, but maybe one day there will be. But here's Volume 1, which has the first 6 episodes. And these did come out on VHS. I do see them around from time to time at different places, so I'll probably pick them up on VHS at some point. Then we have Volume 2, which has the other 6 episodes. So it's only 12 episodes, but, still pretty cool. Pretty cool, at least in my book. And then we will wrap up here with Collision Course with Pat Morita and Jay Leno. Them doing a buddy cop film. Yes, I know. I know a lot of people shit on this movie and they say it's awful and it's terrible. I actually don't think it's that bad, to be honest. I remember like HBO, because this is HBO DVD. They used to run it a lot back in the day. Again, do I think it's the greatest movie ever? No. Do I think it's the worst movie ever? No. But I like it for what it is. I can't complain. So there's that. Again, it's Pat Morita. I miss Pat Morita. I love Pat Morita. If he's in it, I'll give it at least one watch. It may not be very good, but, I'll check it out. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and we'll wrap up this part. I actually was able to get a stack and a half done in 1 hour. So if we can keep up that pace, we'll be moving along pretty well here. So we will come back in part 24, and we'll keep it rocking and rolling. So we'll talk to you guys on the next one. Later.